Hey everyone, in this video I'll be covering all the new changes in the latest update to Crimson Desert, the 1.04 update, their fourth major update, which brings a crazy amount of changes, and a lot of them actually aren't listed in the patch notes. We'll be going over the patch notes and all the noticeable changes that have been made to the game. Now, one thing I definitely have noticed is that the movement speed is oddly enough a lot faster now, especially if you have any upgrades to movement speed, so that's really nice. Another really great change is there's now a well in camp which lets you collect water so you don't have to run back to Hernand, and there's difficulty options. A lot of great stuff here, including 20 new types of birds which you can have as pets, and some of them are actually quite hilarious. The birds will go on your shoulder, or you're going to hold them out like you saw with the eagle there, and there's a wide variety of them. I did do a video earlier today showing you how to get them. Most of them are going to actually go on your shoulder here, except for the Canada goose, which funny enough, it's actually not called a Canada goose, but it will just roam around chaotically in your camp, and I think it's really funny. There it is on top of the well. Yeah, they are just pure chaos. The big thing for a lot of people is this difficulty option here. So whenever you put the game difficulty on easy, what you're getting is reduced damage taken from the player here. So you'll end up just overall taking less damage. You'll have a easier time with enemies as they're going to have reduced health, aggressiveness, and lower speed. This also gives you a greater chance for parrying and dodging, and reduces the frequency of bosses attempting to counterattack or escape whenever they're hit. Normal's been the difficulty you've been playing on this entire time, but hard difficulty is cool because it makes it like a Souls game where food, you actually have to do the eating animation before you'll get healed, so there is a bit of a delay there. And normally this does happen, but you can cancel your way out of it. There's also increased damage that you'll take. Enemies will have more health, aggressiveness, and overall speed. There's also a reduced timing for parrying and dodging, and the invincibility on the dodges has been changed. This also changes the amount of counterattacks bosses will end up doing, and additional combat patterns for certain bosses. Really excited to go through and play all these. Now in the future, they will have an update where you can re-challenge bosses, and I'm really looking forward to going against things like Beloth and Ator on this new higher difficulty, so that will be coming in a future update. It is not currently added. And they also changed in the options menu, so it's now gameplay. It used to be named something a little bit different, language of gameplay, I think, so they actually spread these out and changed them a little bit. And they've also added in more new input changes here as well. Now there's also a new item here, the Sturdy Gatherables chest. So this is great because you can set this up in your house and it's going to have 1,000 slots, which you can purchase from the furniture shops here. And materials that are stored in this are used for crafting or refinement, even when they're not in your inventory. This is a huge change because I hate carrying around 200 different items because I like to craft a lot. This is just going to be a great change. Not only that, they also added in the Cuckoo Cooler, an enhanced version, which you can use in your house, which you can just place your food into it and then you can make food without having to have it in your inventory. So huge change for both of these here, and ingredients will be used if you're not in your inventory. There's also outfit storage, which has been added to the wardrobe, which you can access there. And you may have also noticed in your inventory, there are new icons. They have sorted things out a lot differently here. So things like your keepsakes, bounties, footwear, it all has its own separate tab here. They also move some things around. If you've noticed your inventory looks a little bit different, they take some things that may have previously been in certain areas and shuffled it. And also things like bugs, which normally would have multiple stacks and you'd have like rows and rows of them, are now confined to a single item and they'll have a number in the bottom corner. And here's what I was mentioning. So things like your books and any type of recipes are now in your general inventory and not selectable in like the top section here. And there are now some changes to the housing. So you can choose what type of house you want, a compact, standard, spacious, or a Polynesian spacious house. Now you may not have used the house at all, but if you have, there may be a lot of items that you've put in your house in a bunch of different places. So this happened to me and many other players. There are some bugs which we'll get into the end section of this video, but yeah, you may have your items shuffled around in your house or removed completely and you'll have to go re-enter them. So yeah, it's nice to see new changes like that are just adding in completely new content into the game. So yeah, you got multiple choices for housing, and there's also new housing UI. They changed it around, so normally you had to press and hold to exit the housing UI. I think the changes are nice across the board. It might take a second to get used to. If you end up moving your camp, you can now get an extra item box as well. There's that well that's added to it. So another nice change is whenever you observe a skill and you learn it, you actually will get that Abyss artifact back. It'll refund it. I think that should have been how it is the whole way, but it's nice to see that they made that change there. And items are now stackable. So any type of Abyss gears, insects, fish, and animals, and added the birds as pets. You can find them throughout. And you need the Sought Day of Bond item, which you get from the quest line as you go to save the Paroran village. So going into your faction quests here, all you have to do to be able to catch yourself birds, I did a separate video on it showcasing a ton of locations with unique birds. And you got to go do the authorized access. You can see the bottom right here, the Sauté à Bond. You set this down, you put food into it, and birds get attracted to it really quickly. So that is how to select yourself and catch yourself some birds. So if you're looking to do that, that is how to do it. There are also 5 new types of cat pets that'll be tomorrow's video, so you can stay tuned for that. Improve the Abyss Huqlang, so it can become your pet, which is nice. This is like the Abyss cats, and also allows you to change the name of your cats and horses. This is now changed to be the left control stick whenever you go into the pet menu, so you can name them whatever you like. I think that's really nice. Also fix an issue where cats will remain on this player's shoulder indefinitely. This is a bug that I was having a bit earlier where I'd have all the cats in my camp on my shoulder, like literally 20 cats on my shoulder at a time. And there's actually now an item that's going to allow your cats to stay on your shoulder for a longer period of time, called the Sigil of Bonding, which lets a cat stay for longer on your shoulder. I think that that is really nice. Also add the constabulary to the southern part of Hernan, so you're able to actually get to your bounties cleared. And Damien also got a new exclusive one-handed weapon, the Sword of Starlight, which can be acquired through a quest. Really cool to see that. And Cliff and Unka also got 2 new one-handed swords, Tree Branch and the Sturdy Tree Branch. And also the Sturdy Broom. So yeah, I think that's nice they're adding that because people love that. Cliff also got the new Bathleon armor set and also changed the name of the Rekia plate helmet to the Bathleon, and now it's equipable by Cliff as well. Also had a secret shop in Perorin where pet equipment can be purchased. There was previously already a pet shop in Perorin. Also had additional outfits to certain shops, including the back alley shops. I did a video on those the other day. Improved the Cuckoo flame resistant armor and the Frost Curse plate armor upgrade, the ice resistance, so they can now be dyed. So yeah, this is nice. I literally did a video yesterday talking about how this can't be dyed, and I had a feeling that they would be adding dye support to it. So it's really nice to see that it got added already, and that is the Cuckoo fire resistant armor. They are very powerful armor. I have a video on how to get it and craft it alongside the frost resistant armor. Now that they're both dyeable, this is amazing. Now, something a bit odd, they actually removed some new content that they just added here. So there was actually new cooking animations that they added for vegetables, meat, and fish. This got removed today, oddly enough. We'll see if that gets re-added. Maybe there's a bug or issue with it. Also reduced the amount of attack and defense that's gained from reinforcement from grindstones and anvils. I always thought that that was quite high, so I wasn't surprised to see a nerf there. Also fixed an issue where the cloud card could not be called, so it's now actually worth grabbing the cloud card. This is a huge change, and it can also be now used as a permanent mount, and it's also going to be completable only one time. Also improved the sale of goods by the Greymane NPCs, so they get 10% of a discount now. Nice. Also added livestock vendors to get across Pywell, and cows, pig, goats, sheep, duck, and chickens can be purchased from NPCs. They also added 13 new tattoos, which gives me a feeling that we may see a character creator coming in the future. I also am surprised, if you look here, there's 2 free slots. Maybe a character creator, maybe an online one. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what they got cooking. This many major patches this close after release makes me think we'll maybe see something like that in the future, as they do want to implement multiplayer at some time, but I'll do a future video on that as well. I also had a lock feature that prevents selling or discarding selected items. Thank you! The amount of times I've sold things that I did not want to sell, like very rare items, very common. Now you don't have to worry about that. Also improved gathering and mining, so the quantity items is applied consistently. Sometimes when you're mining for gold, you'd get little, sometimes you get a lot. This is great just to see it more stable. Also, improved resting in a bed so the player character gets up immediately afterwards. They don't lay around. Improved NPCs showing a wider variety of reactions to their surroundings. I love the reaction when you bump into someone, they drop 3 F-bombs in a row. It's hilarious. Also, as an ongoing visual improvement, they replaced the selected 2D visual assets to better align with the game's art. So this may be some of the paintings and stuff that's been controversial in the past. Nice to see them making changes there. The mission dispatch now lets you repeat them, which was how it worked previously, or send them on a one-time only mission. I think that's a cool change. So whenever you go to dispatch characters now, you can select if you want to do it infinitely and have them continually keep doing it, or just one time only. They made a lot of changes for controllers, so presets for both PC and controllers. The original controls are the classic preset, and more detailed controller customization will be added soon. I think this is great, and this is a lot of issues that many people have, because sometimes you get used to using a certain controller setup, and it's not the most intuitive with this game, I'll be honest, but I am used to it. It's kind of like riding a bike, as they said, and I really like that they're adding changes for that. Added a feature where the interaction key is pressed, the corresponding is performed immediately. This feature is under the keyboard customization here, and so you can see here if the items are overlapping, and if the keys overlap, you're going to go for one over the other. It'll highlight it in yellow, making it easier to see, and this is available in the controller customizations menu. Also added the evasion control and switch roll and evasion options, allowing you to go between the other original double click or press and hold options for evasion, which is nice because this turns it more into like a Bloodborne style dodge roll. And you can see this here in the input control, so evasion, double click the evasion key once to roll and double click it to dash, and you can also then put it to the hold, which is what it was previously. Or actually kind of reverse what it was. You press it one, you do the big long dodge roll, and now if you double press it, you do the quick dash like that. So nice to see some changes to the overall way that the game's playing and make it a little bit more intuitive, because I know I've had to explain in a lot of videos how to properly do it, and not everyone always has the easiest time with it. So this is something that I'm really excited to see changed, and we got a lot of other options here, like improving your control for aim, and also the ability to turn your lantern off, because you'd be blinding people when you use it. It's actually a simple one. When you hold up the lantern with the left button, you can press left on the D-pad to put it away. Very good. Also improved controls when a weapon is drawn. Pressing aim when there's an interactable target nearby will switch to aim instead of the guard. They also added using skill element option. So selecting quick slot option allows you to use a selected elements assigned for each individual input. So this is changing it so, like, let's say you wanted to use fire on a certain attack and frost on a different one. I do have guides on how to get all the elemental's abilities here, but this is nice because you can maybe do it on certain attacks if you want to combo them together. They also changed the controls for vault, so vault can only be used while pressing jump and performing a different attack, and changed all interactions that are now executed continuously when the button is pressed down. They also changed some of the key bindings for keyboard and mouse. If you're someone that plays on keyboard and mouse, please comment below. I don't know if there's too many that do, but I'm always curious because that is like the super hard mode for this game. Also, huge controller change. Improve the map so we open by pressing and holding the DualSense touchpad or the Xbox View button. This is massive because normally it's a pain in the butt to get into your inventory here. So now the button that I've always been pressing to zoom in on your character, what you can do instead is press and hold it and you go into your map. Massive change, and this is something I've done so many times now. I'm glad that it's now a feature in this game because my God, it's been annoying if you play many other games like I do, and I'm sure a lot of you others do as well. Combat's been changed. They adjusted the overall balance of bosses, so they're no longer immune to player attacks when performing their powerful ones. This is so frustrating after beating all the bosses now. I'm annoyed, but hey, hard mode's here. I like the challenge, and this is great because certain bosses have very long invincibility that just seemed like a pain in the ass. It made no sense. Also adjusted the frequency in which his boss will counterattack and adjusted attack patterns of certain bosses. I'm not too sure. Whenever the replay comes around, I'm going to replay them all. I'm curious because a lot of them got nerfed pretty hard, like Rush. I remember beating my head against the wall for like 5 hours trying to beat him, and then he got nerfed the next day. Also increased damage taken from elemental status ailments, slightly reduced the damage dealt when hitting enemies with pillars or trees, so that kind of ruined some cheeses for certain bosses that people are using. Add new changing stances for the Force Palm. The skill can still be charged up to 3 stages with the damage increasing progressively. Also improved the speed of examine again, so that was something that if you played this game when it launched, it was very slow and annoying. They made it much better. Also improved the speed of pushing or rotating objects during puzzles, which was painfully slow at times. Improved follow-up attacks so they connect more quickly whenever the attack is blocked. Nice. Changed blinding flash so it can also be used in areas where weapons cannot be drawn, which is massive because that's one of the easiest ways to pull up your lantern sometimes. And also changed blinding flash so that it can be used towards the target currently being faced in combat. Improved attack chaining after using dodge during unarmed combat. Nice. Also, Cliff got added the skill weapon throw when you dual wielding. This can be used the same controls as a shield bash that Damian has here. So weapons can be retrieved by pressing the same controls or by approaching it. If you play any games with throwable weapons, you're going to know they are a pain in the butt. So let me know how you experience this, because yeah, throwing weapons even in Baldur's Gate 3 can be a pain. Improved attack speed of Force Palm and also fixed the issues of the parry action. Also fixed an issue where charge could not be used in certain weapons, and improved the Force Current so Cliff no longer falls from ledges when using it. This is huge. So Force Current lets you put things into place instead of punching them, and your character would do a little bit of a movement. This is no longer the case. Also, Unka cannot move horizontally during vertical flight. That's a skill that I posted about. His jetpack and being able to fly up is super useful. Check out my video on that. It's really fun. Also improved Unka's blaster can be used during flight, and fix a issue where scattershot cannot be used without bullets during the black hang. Also fix examine so you can use it on your inventory while you're mounted on a horse. Didn't know that was a thing before. Improved the brightness and detection range of the miner's lantern helmet so it can easily identify ores. This is huge and can also identify stone. I found that had to be the most useless piece of crap in this game, so I'm glad to see that that is updated. Also changed the healing effects displayed on targets when using the healing force bomb. This is whenever you punch something. It's one of the best ways to actually heal your horse or bear. Also fixed an issue where the lift interaction became unusable when a restrained target fell into the water. There's also an issue where you'd get stamina by putting your sword away, and that's been fixed. Also fixed an issue where sprinting, swimming, and other action could not be performed while riding Marnie's mecha horse. And Damian can now get the quick reload, so you don't have to observe the skill, you can just upgrade it with an Abyss artifact. There's been a bunch of UI changes. There's now categories in the inventory, which I showed here, which is actually a really nice change. I'll just quickly mention and show it off here again. The overall UI changes that they've made has been really nice. We'll hopefully see maybe an upgrade where we can like select the gear selection and see all the items laid out that's in that particular gear. I think that that would be really nice and much easier than the way that we're currently doing it. Also, what's funny is you can have pets in your inventory if you didn't end up capturing the birds, like this Oriole here. There are multiple new categories like documents, equipment, food, and you can also sort these a little bit easier. There's also an improved UI on inventory, so to show that group of items here, and you can also turn it off if you wanted to. You can ungroup all items. There's also a filter or search for the map, which is massive. So now whenever you go into the map here, you can press the face button that zooms in here, and you can look for particular items. Like if you want to just look for all the Abyss Nexus and crests and sky bridges, heads up for those that don't know, you can actually teleport to Abyss crests and the sky bridge gates, so you can press triangle or Y to actually teleport to them. Not a lot of people know that, but you can actually make this really easy if you want to look for certain things, and then whenever you're in this menu, you press it again to be able to search for particular items or particular locations. So this is really nice. I think that they're making some great changes overall to the UI, just making things a lot smoother for players, and this is something that I think is worth mentioning. So they're doing a great job. So lots of different changes to the overall UI. Graphics also got some changes when rendering quality of distance at things at a larger distance. The higher the graphical setting, the more enhanced and visual clarity you'll see with those items. Also fix issues where background items would only appear under certain circumstances or if you're only from a certain distance away. Fix overall lighting and hair. They're continually keep working on things like this, and also added a max size for font scaling. So they also have a change for the chromatic aberrations, so you can turn that off. So yeah, that's something I turned off right away. I don't really love having that. There's also a photosensitive mode now, and improved quality of AMD FSR and Intel XeSS. They also have notices for save files if they're corrupted or invalid, and also fixed crash if HDR was enabled on a monitor that does not support HDR, and many stability and crash issues among PC, console, and Mac. I didn't have many crashing issues in this game, honestly, but it's nice to see they're making changes there. Tumbleweeds have been added to the desert regions. This is great. Fix an issue where the display weapon would not properly work. There's a lot of minor changes here. I'll just let you guys pause and read through these if you want to see, but there are a lot of little changes that you may or may not have been popping into, and yeah, not only that, but they released a hotfix today as well, 8 hours prior to this. So this did make some of the changes because the last update did break some things. So this changes so that you can now change your pet name with the left control stick. All of these changes won't be really compatible, or won't be really applicable if you haven't played since the update. It was making certain mounts disappear, like if you were trying to use the dragon for the end game missions, you weren't actually able to. So yeah, and even the legendary mounts were disappearing, but that is all fixed, and they're still working on many other fixes. And also, if you learned a skill and you want to get the Abyss artifact back, you just have to reset all of them there to get those ones back. So that's nice. Everyone should probably go respec now. Now, some unintentional changes are ones that aren't reported in the patch notes. Movement speed has been increased here, so that's something I've noticed. Especially if you got anything that increases your overall movement speed, you're going to be zooming a little bit quicker now, which is kind of interesting. Another change, especially in camp, some people have reported that all of the gray mains here have lost their trust. I have 100 down the bottom with the good old Ronnie boy there, as you can see, and Carl, everyone's still same for me, but some people are reporting that whenever they even went to go refresh their back to 100, that when they left and came back to the camp, that they ended up losing all that progress again. I actually got some comments too about the Cuckoo Gardening Pack. Now, this is something that I posted a video on how to get. You have to press the left trigger and right trigger together for it to work properly. It doesn't always work properly, and another way to work around that is if you want to use it is actually just going into the menu here, pressing left on the D-pad, and just selecting it. So whenever you go and just mouse over it, like when you're switching a character, you'll end up using it. So if you're having an issue with pressing the left and right trigger, because I do sometimes, I was able to do it there, this is a quick way to make it work. They also released it when this came out earlier today. away, and Cliff, whenever he's using the focus force roll, it was slower than the normal roll. For whatever reason, they fixed that and updated it. There's also some changes to the witches. Whenever you go to upgrade items, they're now a little bit slower, and there's actually quite a few different changes that have came over the last update here. So if you've noticed anything here that hasn't been mentioned, please let me know in the comments. I'm always curious what's going on with this game. So let me know your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I hope you guys all have an incredible day. We'll catch y'all in the next one.